The world never plays fair. No matter how honest you are, someone will betray you. No matter how skilled you become, someone less qualified will take your spot. That's reality. But those who understand this reality, they survive. And those who survive, they rule. This is a power you can't see, but everyone feels it. This is dark intelligence today. You'll learn 8 traits of dark intelligence, the traits that separate winners from losers, leaders from followers. 1. Calculated opacity. One of the strongest weapons of dark intelligence is opacity, the art of not being fully seen. It doesn't mean lying. It doesn't mean faking. It means choosing carefully what to reveal and what to keep hidden. Most people make the mistake of over-explaining themselves. They want to be liked, so they share everything, what they're doing, how they're feeling, what they plan next. They think openness makes them look honest, but in reality, it makes them predictable and weak. When people know too much about you, they can easily judge you, control you, or use your weaknesses against you. Calculated opacity is the opposite. You reveal just enough to keep trust, but never the full story. You leave gaps, and those gaps are powerful. Why? Because the human mind hates empty spaces. It will always try to fill them. And when people don't know everything about you, their imagination creates a bigger, more mysterious image of who you are. They wonder, what else does this person know? What else are they capable of? That curiosity turns into respect. For example, imagine someone asks what you're doing this weekend. A normal person might say, "Oh, nothing big, just staying home, watching Netflix, maybe ordering pizza." That answer makes you seem ordinary. But if you simply say, "I've got a few things to handle," and then change the subject, you create mystery. Now, the other person doesn't know whether you're working on a big project, meeting important people, or planning something exciting. Their mind starts to fill the gaps, and often they imagine something greater than the truth. This is the key. Your words carry more weight when they are fewer. Silence and mystery amplify your presence. When you speak less, people listen more carefully because they don't know when or what you'll reveal next. Think of powerful leaders, thinkers, or even villains in movies. The most dangerous person is not the one who shouts and explains everything. It's the one who says little, but every word feels sharp, calculated, and intentional. So practice opacity in daily life. Don't announce all your plans. Don't share every detail of your emotions. Let people see only parts of the picture, because in mystery, there is power. 2. Adaptive persona. Many people fear being called fake. They think if they act differently with different people, it means they're not being real. But the truth is, being the same with everyone isn't strength. It's weakness. Why? Because not everyone sees the world the same way, and not everyone responds to the same approach. If you treat every situation the same, you limit yourself. This is where the idea of the adaptive persona comes in. It doesn't mean you change your core values. It doesn't mean you stop being yourself. It means you learn to adjust your style depending on who you're dealing with, just like water changes shape depending on the container, but always stays water. Think about it. When you're with your grandmother, you're more respectful, gentle, maybe softer in your words. With your close friends, you might be more relaxed, playful, even sarcastic. With your boss, you're professional, focused, and careful with your tone. None of these versions are fake. They're all parts of you. You're simply showing the side that works best for that relationship. This is called communication intelligence. The smartest communicators don't just speak, they adapt. They read the room, sense the energy, and respond in the way that gets the best result. For example, with a logical person, don't overload them with emotions. Give them facts, numbers, and evidence. With an emotional person, don't drown them in statistics. Connect with their feelings, listen to their struggles, and show empathy. With a dreamer, don't bore them with details. Inspire them with vision, possibilities, and big-picture ideas. By doing this, you build stronger connections, gain trust, and make people feel understood. People don't remember every word you say, but they always remember how you made them feel. Think of great leaders. They know how to inspire crowds with passion, but also how to negotiate deals with cold facts. They adjust their energy depending on the audience. This is why they influence so many different types of people. So don't be afraid to adapt. You're not pretending, you're practicing strategy. The adaptive persona makes you flexible, respected, and harder to attack. Because when you can speak every language, logic, emotion, vision, you can reach anyone. 3. Detachment. Detachment is one of the hardest but most powerful traits of dark intelligence. It means you are not controlled by fear of losing something. Think about it. Most people live in chains, but the chains are invisible. They are chained to their job, chained to a relationship, chained to approval from others. They keep saying, "I can't lose this. I can't walk away." And that fear makes them weak. When you are attached, people can control you. If your boss knows you're desperate for the job, they can underpay you. If a partner knows you're terrified of being alone, they can mistreat you. If society knows you're addicted to approval, it can push you to act against your values. Attachment makes you a prisoner. Detachment, on the other hand, gives you freedom. It doesn't mean you don't care. It doesn't mean you become emotionless or cold. It means you care without being desperate. You can value something deeply, but if it goes away, you don't collapse. You remain whole. For example, in negotiation, the one who can walk away always has the upper hand. If two people are bargaining and one says, "I need this deal no matter what," they've already lost. But if the other person calmly says, "If it doesn't work, I'll find another option," they have power. Why? Because desperation is visible, and whoever wants something less controls the situation more. Detachment also protects your peace of mind. When you're not desperate for people's approval, you can finally be yourself. When you're not terrified of losing a relationship, you can set healthy boundaries. When you're not obsessed with holding on to things, you can think clearly and make better choices. Remember this: what you are not afraid to lose cannot control you. The person who can walk away is the strongest person in the room. Detachment is not weakness, it is clarity. You still care, but you are free, and freedom is the ultimate power. 4. Silent leverage. Most people think power means being loud, aggressive, or always in control of the room. They believe that the one who shouts the most or demands the most has the most authority. But real power works in the opposite way. True power doesn't shout, it whispers. It doesn't need to force itself onto others because it already exists in silence. This is the art of silent leverage. Leverage means using your position, skills, or value in a way that naturally shifts control to you without having to fight for it. It's about being so valuable, so strategically placed, that people can't ignore you. They come to you because they need you, not because you begged for their attention. For example, In conversation, silence is one of the strongest tools. Most people feel uncomfortable with pauses. They rush to fill the silence, often saying more than they intended. But if you stay calm and pause before answering, you create tension. Suddenly your words matter more because people wait for them. You've shifted control of the interaction without raising your voice. In business, silent leverage comes from being excellent at what you do. You don't need to brag or force others to recognize you. When your value is clear, opportunities chase you. A business that provides something unique doesn't need to beg for clients. Clients come looking for it. That's leverage. Silent leverage is also about patience. Instead of trying to force respect, you position yourself so that respect comes naturally. You don't argue to prove your worth. You build it through action. You don't demand loyalty. You earn it through consistency. Think of it this way. The sun doesn't have to announce its power every morning. It simply rises, and the whole world adjusts around it. That is silent leverage. So stop trying to overpower people with noise. Instead, focus on building quiet strength, skills, knowledge, value, and presence. Because when you have silent leverage, you don't need to chase respect. Respect chases you. 5. Psychological echo. Every human being carries a deep desire, the desire to be understood. People may want money, success, or recognition, but underneath all of that, what they truly crave is to feel that someone gets them. When someone feels invisible or unheard, they grow distant, defensive, and even hostile. But when they feel understood, they open up, trust you, and often follow your lead. This is where the power of psychological echo comes in. Psychological echo means reflecting back a person's hidden thoughts and emotions in a way that shows you understand them, even better than they understand themselves. It's not about repeating their exact words. It's about echoing the deeper meaning behind their words. For example, imagine someone says, "I hate my job." A simple or careless reply would be, "Then quit," or "Find another job." That response doesn't touch their emotions. It shuts down the conversation. But if you respond with something like, "It sounds like you don't feel valued there," or "Maybe the work isn't challenging enough for you," suddenly they feel seen. You've echoed their hidden frustration, not just their surface complaint. And in that moment, trust begins to grow. This technique works because most people walk through life without ever being truly understood. Their friends give shallow advice. Their colleagues don't care. Even their families may judge instead of listening. So when someone finally echoes their real feelings back to them, it feels rare and powerful. Psychological echo gives you influence without force. People naturally trust those who get them. They listen more, open up more, and respect your words more. This is why great leaders, therapists, and negotiators use it constantly. They don't just talk, they mirror the other person's inner world. The key is empathy. Pay attention not just to words, but to tone, body language, and hidden emotions. Ask yourself, what is this person really saying? What fear or need is behind their words? Then gently reflect it back. When you master psychological echo, you don't just win conversations, you win hearts. And once you have someone's trust, you have a kind of influence that noise, power, or authority alone can never achieve. 6. Ambiguous morality. Most people grow up being told that life is simple, right versus wrong, good versus evil, black versus white. But the older you get, the more you realize the world doesn't work that way. Reality is complex. Situations are layered. Sometimes what looks good on the surface can cause harm, and what looks bad in the moment can actually protect or save people in the long run. This is the world of ambiguous morality. Ambiguous morality doesn't mean abandoning values. It doesn't mean being cruel, selfish, or evil. It means understanding that real power often exists in the gray zone, where tough choices must be made. Example: imagine a leader who has to fire a few people to save the entire company. On the surface, it looks harsh. Those people lose their jobs. But if the leader avoids making that painful decision, the whole company collapses and everyone loses. Which is truly good and which is bad? It depends on perspective. Another example: sometimes being too nice actually enables harm. If you always forgive someone who disrespects you, they never learn to respect boundaries. If a parent never disciplines their child, the child grows up without limits and suffers later in life. In such cases, kindness without firmness is not kindness, it's weakness. Ambiguous morality is about responsibility. It's about being able to make the difficult decision when others can't. Many people avoid tough calls because they want to look good or stay comfortable. But true strength means asking, what is the outcome that protects the most or creates the greatest benefit, even if it doesn't look perfect? The key is balance. You must set your values clearly and know where your personal lines are. Without lines, you become ruthless. With too many lines, you become powerless. Ambiguous morality is not about being heartless. It's about being practical and understanding that life isn't simple. The world is gray, and power lives in the gray. If you want to handle responsibility, lead people, or protect yourself, you must learn to live in that space, where choices aren't easy, but they are necessary. 7. Controlled exposure. We live in an age where almost everyone is oversharing. People put their entire lives online. Their routines, their struggles, their opinions, even their secrets. At first, it feels like openness builds connection. But in reality, the more people know about you, the less they value you. Why? Because when everything is exposed, there's no mystery left. Controlled exposure is the art of revealing only what strengthens your presence, while keeping the rest hidden. It is not about lying or pretending. It's about understanding that information is power, and if you give away too much, you give away your power. Think about people you admire. Often what makes them fascinating isn't just their success. It's the mystery around them. They don't explain every detail of their personal life, and that creates curiosity. And curiosity pulls people in. The less you reveal, the more people want to know. Mystery is magnetic. For example, on social media, most people post everything: their meals, their arguments, their money problems, their travel plans. But someone who shares carefully, only meaningful achievements, only moments that add value, creates a different image. Their presence feels intentional, and people pay more attention. Another example: if you show all your talents at once, people might clap once and forget. But if you reveal your skills step by step, at the right moments, each new reveal creates impact. Think of it like a magician. If he shows all his tricks in 1 minute, the show ends. But if he reveals them one at a time, the audience stays hooked. Controlled exposure means you decide what others see. You don't hand out your full story like cheap paper. You release it like gold, in small, meaningful pieces. This keeps people guessing, keeps them curious, and keeps them respecting your presence. Remember, information is currency. Every detail about you, your plans, your skills, your emotions, has value. Don't spend it all in one place. Spend it wisely, and you'll always remain interesting, respected, and one step ahead. 8. Outcome. Obsession. One of the biggest traps people fall into is the need to win every argument, prove themselves right, or look smart in front of others. But here's the truth. Being right doesn't always matter. Looking smart doesn't always matter. What truly matters is the result you achieve. Outcome obsession is the mindset of always asking, what do I want to achieve here? What's the end goal? Instead of wasting energy on pride, ego, or appearances, you focus on results. For example, in a personal fight, many people argue endlessly just to win. They want the last word. They want to crush the other person's point. But what if your real goal is peace, respect, or maintaining the relationship? In that case, winning the fight actually makes you lose because it damages what truly matters. Sometimes the smarter move is not proving yourself right, but keeping harmony. In business, the same principle applies. Many waste time on office politics, trying to look good in front of bosses, or proving who had the original idea. But outcome-obsessed people don't care who gets the credit. They care about moving forward, closing the deal, or finishing the project. Results are the real scoreboard, not appearances. This trait requires discipline, because the ego always wants to shine. It wants to argue, to be noticed, to be praised. But the strategic mind knows that energy spent on ego is energy taken away from results. The outcome-obsessed person is flexible with methods, but stubborn with goals. They don't insist on one rigid path. They adapt, they adjust, they use whatever approach works best, as long as it gets them closer to the result. Think of great strategists in history. They didn't fight every battle. They chose the battles that mattered and ignored the rest. Why? Because victory isn't about proving a point. It's about achieving the mission. So train yourself to ask, in every situation, what is my desired outcome? If your actions don't serve that outcome, drop them. Focus only on what moves you closer. That is the essence of outcome obsession, and it is one of the sharpest tools of dark intelligence. Closing, now you know the 8 traits of dark intelligence. But knowledge means nothing unless you use it. So pick one trait, just one, and practice it for 7 days. Watch how people react to you differently. Remember, this power is for protection, not manipulation. Use it to stay free, strong, and respected. The world will always be unfair. But with dark intelligence, you don't just survive, you win. Question for the audience. Which of these 8 traits do you already see in powerful people? And which one will you start practicing first?